That is something Afreeca want to avoid.
Yeah, and no subs to come in. No game for Mowgli this time around. Spirit, once again, sitting in that spot. And like you said, red side, so important for this squad. The Rumble Ban going to come in once again. We will see what the adaptation is.
Bans in game one, Rumble, LeBlanc were the first two. Also banned away the Galio on blue side. Rumble has been staple banned against Afreeca. That part makes sense. Where will the Maokai fall in the piece? Because could be a trade offered here by Afreeca Freecs when it comes to the Maokai. Maybe give something up as long as they can secure Maokai on red side.
Well, the Trundle ban coming in very early is interesting on the side of Samsung. So
well,
yeah, it does make some sense.
Does suggest some good old Maokai as well.
Yeah,
that
or Cho'Gath, depending on what Afreeca Freecs want to ban. Kalista going to be the first one, so not too priced in to banning other champions. I mean, Ambition might get his Gragas if they decide to go for the, you know, last ban Cho'Gath.
Yeah, if you don't ban Maokai, sorry, not Maokai, Gragas, or leaving up another big pick, then yes, first pick Gragas seems likely. So Galio going to be banned away. I'm impressed that Afreeca managed to draw this many Galio bans so far in the series. LeBlanc, the final ban away from Crown, who's not played the most LeBlanc, but it is a legacy pick for him. First pick Gragas looking very, very likely for Samsung, but
whoa,
that would leave open the Lovers duo for the side of Afreeca Freecs, so they don't want to give over Xayah and Rakan, but they do give over Xayah Gragas if Afreeca wants it.
I feel like that has to be the no-brainer choice here from the Afreeca Freecs. They don't want to feel priced into picks like that, but when they're available, it does make a heck of a lot of sense. The Spirit has to make up his mind. Does he take the Gragas, or does he take something else more coveted? Taliyah is an option, and they are going to pick it up for Kuro.
Might try to go for something like the Lee Sin, who's similar to Gragas, if not with the same sort of tank scaling into the late game. Prizing the Taliyah this highly is interesting with Cassiopeia available. Karma could just be taken again as a negating pick. Seems like we're jumping on the Ardent Sensor train again.
Yep. And I wonder whether they go for an AD carry here as well. So there it is. Tristana locked in. So Tristana Rakan, a lot of engage potential and power in the earlier stages of the game. Theoretically, if they can get things working. Xayah no slouch though, and we saw Samsung do fantastic things with the pick. Ambition thinking about what he wants to take to the jungle. So foregoing the potential Karma, but Cho'Gath was left up, remember. And that is going to be taken for Cuvée or Ambition.
It's been banned a lot previously in this series, so like you say, available here. No Trundle taking the first round, as Lulu could certainly be selected. Would be a flex pick, which is surreal to say.
Yeah, hovered for quite some time. As you can see, we're looking at Spirit's face. A lot of concern there. They want to make sure that they put this series to bed before they have to once again hop over to the blue side, and Lulu is going to be locked in.
Karma was flashed by Samsung, but to me that's a mind game because there are other good picks against the Taliyah available. So if they actually do draw a Karma ban out of Afreeca just by hovering it earlier.
Could it be the Vel'Koz? Could we have double Void solo laners?
I do like the Gragas ban. We see a Gragas ban. Afreeca not showing priority on it. I was probably surprised that Samsung didn't lock it in, but they valued getting the Cho'Gath for top lane higher. Could, of course, be a jungle Cho'Gath. We've only seen that once this season.
Well, J4 going to be banned away as well. Looks like the jungle is getting hit pretty hard, which makes some sense given the fact that we haven't really had any locked in just yet. Did mention, of course, the Cho'Gath, but not exactly the pride of the moment. And look, that bait, if it was one with the hover, is going to be looked at and reacted to with the Karma being banned away. And Elise taken off the board as well.
So what Afreeca want to select here. If they want to flex their muscles, jungle could be left to last, but top lane could as well. There's a lot of question marks about where Afreeca want to go. And now they will hover here. So the question is, will it be Lulu jungle again? Will it be Lulu support? That's the flex that's being dangled by the Afreeca Freecs, tantalizing Samsung, who will cement their draft now.
Yeah,
probably just go super safe.
Yeah, looking at it, just not going to allow the Afreeca Freecs the flexibility of this particular draft to be capitalized on. Okay, Ambition going back to an old favorite. The Kazakh's going to be locked in. And yes, we talk about the fact that he played in the mid lane. Didn't even do that a whole lot last time we saw it, but
we see it in the highlight a lot because he died to Faker, of course, the solo kill famously.
Yep. Now the final pick to be locked away. You have to think that his jungle Kha'Zix performance has been much better than that of his legacy mid lane.
Wondering about the pick here from Samsung. Orianna would be fine, but they didn't take it when available, and they'll go to the undefeated Syndra for summer season. So pick comp going to be enacted with the Kha'Zix. Interesting to see. Taking Lulu jungle into Kha'Zix sounds like a headache and a half, Atlas. So that will probably... No, it doesn't dissuade it. Okay.
Well, they haven't locked it in just yet. They're looking at the idea as Tucson had some brilliant performances on the Janna. Was how they made the Lulu composition work the last time around. But
so risky. They're going to do it anyway.
Oh, here we go.
Lulu jungle into Cho'Gath, Syndra, and Kha'Zix sounds very, very risky. We do get what we asked for. I said at the end of Game 5, was it the Lulu jungle or was it them pulling off an unexpected gank at level 3 that was the real power? There will be ardent sensors out the wazoo of Afreeca, but it seems like Samsung read the situation pretty well. They have good answers to it, and now we get a better idea of where the power level is at with the Lulu jungle, because this should be tricky.
Yeah, and it just shows that Spirit's pretty confident in it. We spoke to him backstage, the two of us, and we asked him the question, are you going to be playing more Lulu jungle? It was a relatively confident yes, but I don't know whether he was trolling us or not. Turns out he wasn't. And man, okay, the Afreeca Freecs, they've made this composition work before. It was against a very different beast in MVP with a very different composition.
And I had a lot of criticisms about how MVP played against the Lulu, and we'll talk about it more as we get into picks and bans. But Cho'Gath on the field for the first time so far in this series. So the one that's been banned away pretty consistently against Cuvée does have good lane priority in almost every lane. The Renekton can get in there and mess them up, but it's more about the jungle. Jungle's going to be so interesting in this game, and Crown undefeated on the Syndra. Good matchup into the Taliyah as well, and he won't necessarily have to respect jungle pressure like most Syndra lanes do, because we're still unclear about what Lulu provides in that particular arena.
Yeah, well, I guess he provides a bit of a health buffer and some shields to try and nullify a gank, but I don't know whether he's necessarily going to be having the aggression. But there's only one way to find out, guys. Let's hop into potentially the last game if Afreeca can do it, and Samsung's possible reverse sweep. I believe that was Jungle Lulu fighting?
Yep.
Nice one. Okay, well, we're going to check that one out right now. Star Guardian Lulu as well. Spirit's skin of choice. Favorite of mine is Crown. Going to loot a bunch of his health bar, but... Oh, Kuro. Looking for it. Doesn't have Thunderlords, though, so didn't need to get too much more action happening.
People are going to be hyped. They get to see the Jungle Lulu live. Jungle Lulu, we should remember that MVP in 5 games, 2 days ago, I should say, played very, very defensively level 1. No deep vision, no ability to predict where the enemy jungler was. Some games you understand that, but against a Lulu, having predictable pathing and potential for the enemy jungler to invade is so important. If this was solo queue and you're the Kha'Zix, you're thinking, I'm going to kill him at his red, for example, with how standard leashes go, especially at middle to low elo. There was no pressure on Spirit. He went bot lane. They got a very early 3 kills, and from there, all was written. Now we're going to see it in a more realistic setting as, well, level 1. Deadly Plumage taken by Kramer, but very even trade between the two duos.
Yeah, actually a lot of damage going out in response there from Kramer, placing a lot of trust into the Eye of the Storm timing from Tucson.
Well, it's not the full Lover's bot lane, so Janna doesn't also get the Deadly Plumage going.
But he does get some gold, because we've got another Relic Shield.
And it's only when the Eye of the Storm shield is there that he has similar AD to Samsung, you should remember, because of that Relic Shield.
But they do have a fair bit of healing, utilizing that one in a matchup with a ranged champion as support. Certainly something that we don't see all that often.
Because it's Kha'Zix jungle, Syndra as well. Tucson has to run Exhaust. They had to run Exhaust on someone. Don't want to run it on the AD carry. So they can't get the maximum value out of the Wind Speakers either, Atlas. So some big adaptations here. We don't see full Wind Speaker's value as Kuro's just invading straight up.
Ambition taking so much damage here as well. The smite is there for Ambition, so he's probably not going to die, but here's Spirit. He's going to make his way in all that much earlier, but is Kramer going to die? He does use the heal, another good missile. Oh, that Eye of the Storm timing was out of control. And in comes Spirit with the flash. He's done it again, Papa Smithy.
It's the bot lane level 3 ganks that are working, and it was exactly at the time.
That was a level 2 gank.
But the thing that was there, Atlas, is the timing of the game, because at level 2, Spirit rushed in and invaded the jungle, so they had eyes on Kha'Zix. No counter gank could happen. Like you say, level 2 didn't even have the full experience for level 3. They can even get the push as well, as CoreJJ thinks about turning around for a kill.
Yeah, Spirit's going to come down here once again, but the Grand Entrance is going to make his escape. And Spirit actually just happy to come down, soak a little bit of experience, but also help shove this wave forward, and they'll have another good back for the Afreeca Freecs bottom lane. And it feels like momentum is never something you have to talk about in a series with the Afreeca Freecs in it. They can win or lose any game, doesn't really matter. It's like they're robots that are a little bit malfunctioning sometimes.
But that makes them human, right? That's the part that humanizes them, because...
And an absolute joy to watch as well.
They do things like this. They will in pressure games bring out strategies that other people wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. And Spirit, over in Fnatic, played a lot of jungle Lulu. It was on everyone's lips, but they never played it in competitive. Brought it out here. We knew something was up with how their draft was going, and surprised us with the jungle Lulu. Predictably wasn't banned, because it can often be just a surprise strategy, a joker pick, where you run it once and then the enemy can adjust to it. They have the confidence to run it twice. Pretty big from my perspective. It's a big vote of confidence for Spirit.
Well, Marin going to deal with that control ward very quickly. Ruthless Predator pretty good at that one.
It's dueling, where Spirit probably doesn't want to do too much.
Oh, God. Insult, welcome to injury.
That's a tilter.
That's a tilter. That's the Haru treatment that Ambition just got.
And if people are wondering what Lulu jungle does, because we've had a lot of different types of jungle, right? With Alistar jungle, everyone knew what that did. But we had Graves jungle, which is more about helping lanes push or ganking when they're overextended. To me, Lulu's on the side of the Graves is very nice trades from Kramer.
Massive damage, an expert avoidance of the Grand Entrance there as well, if you saw the micro movements.
A long sword and a single dagger to his name. No BF sword like after the first Lulu gank in that previous series. But I think Lulu's ability to help push will be underrated. It's a Q-max coming through from the Lulu. It's like a Graves in that particular regard. But then has the CC of it has the utility of the Iverns and the Nidleys, with the Ardent Sensor being the large item spike from the jungle. So different type of jungler to what we're used to, but certainly so far effective.
Yeah, it's worked fantastically well. Back-to-back level 2, level 3 ganks and success gains. So you have to feel that Afreeca Freecs are in exactly the position that they want to be in. Now scouting out for some vision as well. But Ambition is still getting himself to a point where he can affect this map. We'll see what his first evolution is going to be. The flavor of the month has been the ultimate, just to get all of that stealth happening for you.
Yeah, Clearlove running that one. Saw it from other junglers. When Cuz played, he was just going Q, so going a bit more standard, and W has been one in the past. So, bit of disagreement on that, which is fun. I just love when the meta, even for a single champion, evolves, but largely the entire meta isn't fixed. When there is options like Lulu jungle, like playing around with skill order. When you just follow a recipe, it feels a bit like StarCraft and build orders. It's fun when the innovation can be there.
Yeah, when there's different options. Oh, Kramer gonna get engaged on. Good Howling Gale. Is the exhaust going to be enough though, as Kramer uses the flash to get out of the way, and all of the Afreeca Freecs turn up at exactly the same time to save the AD carry. Thankfully, the Weaver's Wall did go off, and Crown couldn't interrupt anything and stop Kuro from making his way down, but man, they will get some lane priority on the side of Samsung, but that was a valiant defense.
Well, they know who they have to play around. Once again, they have a true carry in mid lane in terms of the Taliyah, but it's still largely around Kramer. You run double Ardent Sensor comps for Kramer to pop off. It's why, I mentioned it early in the series for people joining late, there was the tweet from Spirit where he said, only run jungle Lulu if you have an AD carry as good as Kramer. And Kramer has already had a good series, so keeping him alive, trying to guarantee him farm. He's 8 CS behind, 9 CS behind, but has gone for the Relic Shield, so wasn't expected to win the CS score.
Now, Kramer is going to make his way back to this lane as well to pick up all of this farm. I was wondering how bad the back timing was going to be, but gets himself some Berserker's Greaves, utilizes that money quite well, which is obviously what he was trying to do early with that dagger. And he's going to be heading towards that Essence Reaver quite nicely. With that hammer coming in next.
Yeah, when Janna's the duo with the recurve shield, at least you get the Eye of the Storm AD to help you with last hitting under turret, so won't necessarily be losing in creep score as heavily as you might expect, and might actually just back now and look for a bigger purchase.
Yeah, he's going to go back home, exactly right. May as well when your lane is at a decent position. Can't quite get it yet, but does have that extra longsword just to have some power in this lane. Equality almost reached by Ruler, as he does have his Cull stacking up, and his Berserker's Greaves now on the way as well. Ooh, an Infernal Drake to come up first. Getting exciting in game number 4. The Samsung try and get themselves towards a position to reverse sweep. If they win this game, this is the biggest test, especially after the early gank success that Spirit was able to have, but red side so coveted. Especially in this matchup, Afreeca Freecs not winning a lot when they don't get the red side. It was back-to-back blue side games that MVP were able to capitalize on. Juve taking too much from Marin here, who's slicing and dicing all over him. Just some pressure. Knows that he can't really stick around. Glacial Shroud and the Ninja Tabi really helping him survive that aggression.
Yeah, Marin didn't have Flash W range there. He might have actually been able to take him down on the back end, but Juve was able to just skirt out of the range. Wait for the regen to come through and be alright.
Alright, control ward now being defended by the Afreeca Freecs on the bottom side of the map, making sure that no one can sneak in as the Tristana is likely to push. But look at this, Juve, so much trouble, and Marin going to get to work on this turret. It's quite healthy. See whether they can actually do it. I don't think so, not in this push. Kuro's waiting around. Syndra's making his way in as well. Oh, good knock up onto Ruler. Battle Dance does come in. Okay, Juve surviving for the moment. Bit of slicing and dicing from Marin, and taking one of his beloved turret shots as well.
Good trades there. Syndra had to be zoned off multiple minion waves, but Ambitious going to jump onto the Infernal. Playing around top side, Afreeca very visibly, so a real chance of a contest is bot lane.
Oh god, Kramer doing so much work. Eye of the Storm keeping him completely healthy there as well. The extended trades may not necessarily go their way, but the burst trades just look so good for the Afreeca Freecs. And Ambition, okay, against the flow, he's going to be able to take this one down. So, thankfully, the Dragon is isolated, so it does a bunch of extra damage. We'll have to go back to base, but Infernal Drake for nothing feels pretty good.
Infernal Drake will be the next spawn as well, but Afreeca in the lanes have been able to grow pretty significant CS lead in top. A real surprise there, and finally are competitive in the bot side as well. 13 CS down. The trades have been going pretty decently, so even with Ambition jungling bot side, going to be inflicting too much pain onto the side of Kramer, as Spirit hasn't been involved in action for a couple moments now.
Yeah, Ambition throws down a ward, but spots that there is a control ward there. And now just going to take himself to a Rift Scuttler of his own. Kramer now gets the Eye of the Storm. It was going to the turret most of the time, and that has meant that now you can see this bottom outer turret is in fine form. Feeling absolutely A-okay. Spirit going to move in. Yeah, Ruler is going to be the focus. Rocket Jump should be used relatively soon as Buster Shot comes out onto Kramer. Gets himself out of the way. I believe actually Tucson tanked that one up. But Samsung able to repel them quite easily. Syndra was moving down. Kuro's moving towards the top side, however, and Marin, we left him alone with that turret for quite some time, and it is now very, very low as Juve, can he do it again? Can he actually survive the gank? And it looks like he may not be able to, as some threading of the volley, as Marin is eventually able to lock that one down.
One playing around top side, Ambition jungling on the bot side previously. Able to get a freebie there, and Lulu can just pick up the experience, throw out Qs, and try not to be soloed by the Syndra. Earthbrick does go the way of the Afreeca Freecs.
It's going to be answered very, very quickly by Samsung here on the bottom side. Eye of the Storm was optimistic. He was going to save anything, but now Samsung able to get the shove and free up the Tristana to head towards the top lane and try and shove that one down as well. A very long lane, though. The Afreeca Freecs might be able to capitalize, trying to now get themselves this Rift Herald. Dragon should be up in about 3 or so minutes. That next Infernal Drake, Afreeca will be looking at with pretty envious eyes.
How Samsung construct the game as it goes to mid to late will be really interesting, because when you see Tristana Syndra, you think, okay, Siege, set up the Siege. Tristana's so good, taking down turrets, and Syndra zoning away from them. But the big struggle they'll have is that Cuvée getting anywhere near the enemy when it comes to a feast. You can't just go for your standard Righteous Glory engage because Janna and Lulu will ruin your day. It's so hard to get the chomp on the very, very squishy members of Afreeca unless there's a significant mistake or vision disadvantage. So playing around the Cho'Gath, that part is a little bit against the type of what we see. So it might just be Cho'Gath sticking to keeping Maren in a side lane and focusing on the power of the fort and sieges. That is really their way to move forward.
And right now, that's actually looking dangerous because the Afreeca Freecs were focusing topside. They're trying to get Maren this lead, and so far CS, as is Maren's way, is certainly there, but he's got the Black Cleaver, he's got the Mercury's Treads now as well, and going for more damage on his Renekton this time around. So wanting to be able to answer exactly that.
QE, the max, so a bit more damage focus rather than the W second that we see in other roles. W first actually is pretty common in support. To go 3 points into Q, then W max for the polymorph duration. So the polymorph duration, not what it's about the movement speed onto the AD carry, and then also the ability to clear.
You can see Kuro able to clear out these waves as Crown sends them towards him. He's gone haunting guys with the Merc Treads, just to try and get some of that magic pen, and then now heading towards his Morellonomicon.
So the things this comp from Afreeca doesn't do, because when the moment you go Lu in the jungle, you think, well, taking Baron is almost impossible because you need Maren to be there, and then you have to have won a team fight to actually be investing 5 members onto the Baron. So a 2, 3, 4-man Baron is almost impossible due to how squishy outside of Maren they will be.
Unless I can get around Kramer once he's got enough items. Just keep boosting him with these Ardent Sensors. Yeah, it could be a worry. None of these cheeky over-the-back wall type MVP strats. You can't tank it. Ambition looking for Kuro, going to jump forward, gets the slow. Just takes a few orbs. Ambition unable to find anything so far this game, apart from some farm.
Need to see where Lulu will put the Rift Herald. Probably another minute or so of duration available for that. Rushing towards the Ardent Sensor that Tucson already has.
Yeah. Scary stuff. Those double Ardent Sensors come in, this Kramer gets so much more scary. Still needs to have possibly a Zeal item, do you reckon, before you're really going to get terrified?
Yeah, at least the Zeal itself alongside the Essence Reaver. Usually we look at 2 items where you get comfortable, start trading as the Xayah, and then 3 with the Infinity Edge is where those damage numbers go up. Probably not going to index too highly on the last Whisper. That was important in earlier metas where we had double tanks, only the single tank from both teams. So probably just going to be the Infinity Edge third.
Yeah, and it's a tank that's on welfare a little bit on the top side of the map as well, as Cuvée is getting a lot of pressure from Maren.
First Infernal soloed by Samsung, but not going to be a solo this time, as Afreeca put their time into the preparation for the Drake, and they can also just put down the Rift Herald either just to power down the mid lane turret or to be a distraction as they took Drake, and they're going to go with the former. Yeah, Ambition can't walk up.
Yeah, you mentioned no tank, and that means that Ambition exactly cannot get underneath this turret. Free charge, and that's a free out of turret going over to the Afreeca Freecs. Continuing that lead. Oh, good stun onto Kramer, but he's got a shield.
Have you noticed that Talia and the Xayah look almost exactly the same?
Yeah, they're wearing the same outfit. And it's both blue. They're Afreeca Freecs champions.
Ambition looking for a gank top. They know that Drake's going to go down, so they're going to look for a turret dive on Maren, which isn't straightforward.
Yep, Dominus is, of course, there as he gets out of the way of the Rupture, at least. Cuvée can tank for a very long time. Cute little flash, but that is going to be the finish off. Feast is pretty good at killing people from relatively large health amounts, but the Infernal Dragon does go over to the Afreeca Freecs, and teleport is still up for Maren as he's back just under 25 seconds. Yeah,
pretty clean, all things considered. Tried to flash away, but Cuvée just had to pop the Righteous Glory and was fine.
Okay, Kuro turns up. We'll save the turret, but Core JJ, he's here as well, and could this be just another one on the menu? Looks like no. Spirit's here with a few shields to help out his mid laner.
And buy time for Maren to teleport top if necessary, otherwise run up top to ensure that they ended up with a turret and a Drake, rather than trading the turrets 1 for 1. Happy to play the top side for now. Renekton will go bot lane. They exit with a gold lead there, Afreeca Freecs, because they did take that mid lane turret. Crown with some solo time has done some decent work on the mid lane. It's still going to take more time.
But good vision gained by Samsung with their move towards the top side of the map. So it will be where Kuro's hanging around. But they do want to be able to get that outer turret in the mid lane. And could it be Samsung setting themselves up for some sort of early Baron pressure? Don't necessarily have the greatest team for taking it down.
I mean, if Cuvée can be there, and then Ambition and Tristana can take it down pretty fast as a duo. We should do a bit of bookkeeping while we have some time off. Should note, of course, that Samsung, with their victory in Game 3, picked up their first post-game or post-season victory of the year.
Yeah.
After going down 3-0, 3-0 in both spring and summer playoffs. Important that they finally picked up a victory to not allow themselves to go 0-9 in those playoffs matches. His mid lane, not going to be too much, as Spirit was in the pocket of Kramer.
Yep, Kramer actually just looking like he didn't care at all what Samsung were going to throw back, given the Ardent sensor that's waiting in the wings. Actually, no. Tucson still yet to be here. Yeah. Spirit's very, very close, though. Thought that he must have finished it by now. He's going to go that aggressive, but nope. Kuro's going to be able to grab his blue buff and crown. Shoves another wave towards his top side of the map. Not a pings out, I believe. The crown possibly could have even just headed over there, but not quite able to. Tucson and Kramer are going to turn up. Try and clear out what is left of those minions before they take down the turret.
Marlon's going for a side lane build, going for Blade of Ruin King second. Earlier he went for the Black Cleaver into full tank, but he's focused more on playing the side lane. So it seems to be that he's surmised the same thing we did when thinking about the comps, that the Cho'Gath seems more set up to play side lane than necessarily to group with the team, given the Janna and Lulu shutting him down in fights. Wants to have kill pressure. It's the build we saw pulled out by Cuvée at Rift Rivals, showing that if you go the Blade of the Ruin King second, you can win other matchups that were considered unwinnable for the Renekton in the mid game, like the Kled, for example. He was able to win that matchup pretty handedly.
See whether it helps him here against the Cho'Gath. In my mind, makes a lot of sense to be able to shred through health because Cuvé's getting towards 4,000 number. As Talongale flies through, means that Crown actually blows his flash. Dangerous gets out of the seismic shove as... Okay, Ambition's going to turn up. That is so much damage. Cuvée comes in and Kuro just not there in time.
It's where the build doesn't make as much sense. That, of course, with lower health values himself, will just die on the gank. Can't even buy enough time for Kuro to come over. And mid lane, they're looking for a turret dive.
Yeah, Wild Growth comes in as Tucson is going to be absolutely fine. Takes an Unleashed Power and shrugs it.
Exhaust used by Tucson, so that was the summoner spell he took in lieu of heal that is gone onto Kramer. Hasn't been traditional with the Janna lanes, but necessary for moments like that.
Handy thing is that Ambition is at least getting some work done. Successful ganks means a little bit more money. We know that Kha'Zix does like to be able to actually build some items and get to that point of relevance. Would have liked at least one of the kills, but a couple of assists does still feel good.
They are dictating the map, though. Tempo right now with those kills in the side lane allows them to push up, and the Baron threat may not be immense, is still there on their side, looking to take down the outer ring of turrets finally. Second turret down. Start to get mid lane, my apologies.
Yeah, Kuro will find the seismic shove, though. His in goes to Core JJ. Okay, they want Ruler. Not going to be able to find him. Marin unable to close the gap as now Crown. He's going to get to work in the mid lane, but can Spirit actually lock him down? That's a lot of damage, actually. Ultimate flies through onto Tucson once again, but it's not enough damage. And that's Kramer picking up his first kill of the game with his 2-item spike. This is where it gets scary if you're a Samsung fan.
Double senses completed as well, so they can fight around Kramer. They're going to be super, super happy. DPSing him down is going to be an exercise in frustration by the side of Samsung. Pushing up around the Baron, still not really threatening it, but control will be granted. The winner of the spoils when it comes to the power of those picks.
Well, speaking of power, at least Ruler has been able to get himself 2 items as well. Brawler's Glove casually sitting there, but synergizes much better with the Infinity Edge now that a couple of crit items have been picked up. He's been farming very, very well once again. It's been the story of the series, but it's translating it into wins, especially games 1 and 2 that was almost impossible to do. By almost, I mean definitely impossible. I know that they lost those games. Game 3, sorry, a different story. It was largely Ruler that was able to get the work done. It was his Xayah that won them that.
Spirit going to go all in on utility build, of course. Is Kramer playing with fire?
Okay, Ambition does jump himself out of the way.
But the Power Puff goes back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be full support build. Going to be very soon. The redemption completed by Tucson. By Spirit, I should say. And the walkabout is just in service of the dragon being quickly completed by Afreeca.
Very quickly. Kramer, a couple of Ardent Senses makes him a pretty happy boy. Blade of the Ruin King done for Marin. So his battle capabilities are certainly up there.
Doesn't really want to be found, otherwise it's just going to be dead again.
Yep, and that is certainly the case. So it does a fair bit of damage, but he's still dead.
Don't know about that one by Marin. The rest of his team was bot side. He's gone a full damage build. You want to occupy time for certain, but it doesn't take half a second to kill Black Cleaver. Play the Ruin King. Renekton, that's a nice burst of damage.
Yeah, it takes about the same amount of time to kill Tristana. Look at this tower. Not anymore. It is dead. The Afreeca Freecs certainly have a lot of damage with Kramer in the vicinity to take those ones down. CoreJJ thinking about an engagement, but no one's really here. Everyone's sort of stretched around this map. Pings up towards the top side as Kuro has shown himself. The Powerpuff Girls look a little bit unbeatable. Ambition jumps on top of Kuro, but both summoner spells are enough to get him out of the way.
As a trio, certainly, but the other members are stragglers a little bit. We saw Kuro have to flash away from the Kha'Zix jumping in, and we already saw Marin taken down. So the power of the three, the Xayah, the Lulu, and the Janna is undeniable, but around there they have to be a bit more careful. If you're going to be going for a side lane build, you have to play your side lanes appropriately, and you also need your team to be setting up for the split push with some predictable vision. Those steps haven't really happened, and Marin is kind of going on an inevitable losing mission, just trying to reach side waves that are only going to spell his doom.
Yeah, and he's pushing up very, very far. Those side waves as well. Duskblade of Drakthar done for Ambition.
It's going to be a pick build from Marin. He's going to go for a Guardian Angel next, I'm guessing.
Hope so. That's a fun one.
I mean, at this point, building tanky, you're always going to be outpaced and outstripped by the damage being built by the enemy, so why not at least have burst of your own?
Yeah. And if you can be a damage threat as well, imagine the shields going on to the Renekton means that you're not ignorable anymore because of your item build, and you're not killable either because you've got a hell of a lot of protection in the Ardent Senses and the shields coming in. Juve trying to make himself useful here in the mid lane. Threatening a rupture underneath this outer turret. Find Kramer, but now the wave clear is going to be necessary in this Xayah. He's just not playing with a lot of fear.
Understandable. Doesn't have to worry about burst from Crown. There's so much ability to dodge that damage and the extra shields and bonus health from the wild growth.
Yeah, large amount of options.
Ambition has evolved the ultimate, as you can tell.
It's an Ambition mission behind enemy lines.
A bit more slippery than some of his other solo missions.
Yeah. Okay. Looking for some sort of pincer maneuver, potentially, is...
Eating a Kuro, for example.
Yeah, that's going to find him. Okay, Seismic Shove's just not there, and Ambition jumps all over the Talia. Good positioning. Could have potentially been punished, but now they'll be able to get an inner turret for it.
When you're this squishy, going through the enemy, your allied jungle, I guess you should say, is a risky maneuver. That's why Ambition was just waiting for the inevitable wave clearer to take down. Freeca only feels safe in the expanse of the mid lane. That means that Syndra's keep pushing in as Tucson gets the early info there.
Yep, spots him. Oh, Whimsy's going to prevent at least the blast cone from being taken down, but they get rid of it. No inhibitor turret to be destroyed from Samsung, as Crown was threatening that. But Ruler, if this minion wave gets to this turret, you bet your bottom dollar it's going to be destroyed. Something can be done. All right, cute little flank, but not going to find too much more. Ruler actually playing with a lot of respect. Not going to try and brute force that one down.
Close to his 3-item spike, defend the edge. At 1,800 gold away. I imagine less than that. He's sitting on some gold. He's been sitting on those 2 items for a little while.
Redemption and Eye of the Oasis complete, though, for Tucson. He's like a full redemption ahead of CoreJJ.
Spirit working on a redemption of his own.
Yeah.
There is burst from Samsung, so redemption value may not come through if they hit the ideal numbers. If this was sustained damage, things like Vlad or Swain, then certainly redemption would have massive value, but the redemption's more about dodging into a fight, drawing out an ultimate, backing away, then using redemption more defensively rather than a mid-fight redemption because of the heavy burst coming through from Samsung.
Setting yourself up for a potential siege, something like that. But Kramer now has the dream. He's picked up his third item, Infinity Edge.
He's a monster, but everywhere he isn't, Afreeca are actually in probably a bit of strife. So they need to try to focus things and focus the attention of Samsung. Things like starting Baron, which is risky for them with how squishy they are, is a way to do that. We'll see if Samsung want to fight around a Drake as well. Samsung want to fight where Kramer isn't, but Afreeca can ruin that plan.
Oh, actually, Featherstorm coming out very, very early as Cuvee now Righteous Glories his way forward. Doesn't find any ruptures, but Kramer has to be so much more careful. Spirit also has the Wild Growth on himself. Won't be able to utilize that onto Kramer. These ruptures aren't landing, and Afreeca Freecs are okay for the moment, but look at this. Samsung closing in, and they're playing so aggressively. Marin's position not necessarily completely known as he's now looking for some sort of flank.
Being a bit greedy here. Seems like Marin's trying to proxy the way. They could just use a Redemption to top up the healing at least a little bit. They're playing with fire. They do see Ambition, but they're probably going to give up the outer turret.
Yeah, he's going to stealth his way forward, and now Samsung actually looking for some more damage onto this inner turret. Leap has to be used to get him out of the way as in goes Core JJ. Oh my goodness, the Monsoon was there, but they just eat Kramer. And that is the dinner that Samsung wanted. They break 2 turrets in the mid lane and now have all of the control back. We were frightened for Samsung because Afreeca Freecs looked like they had the script for this Lulu composition. But I feel like the Kha'Zix is what's making the difference.
Yeah, the Kha'Zix is working a treat. We saw them being punished as they tried to rotate between lanes. And they got too greedy not using the little Redemption there that the front door strategy actually worked on to Kramer. And now the Baron Rush is another strategy. Ambition's not grouped though.
Yep, Kuro taking a lot of damage from Crown, but doesn't get the stun after the ultimate. Threaded Volley comes forward. There's the Redemption coming in as Marin has set himself up as the front line. Maybe Samsung could have stayed on that Baron and pressured it down because now they are going to have to break off. As Kuro completely out of mana, you need to get out of there, buddy. Ambition is sensing blood.
Sort of game where the ultimate evolve early makes so much sense because he can solo down 4 out of 5 of the members of Afreeca Freecs. So we've seen it other times and struggled to understand. This is the perfect time as Marin's here, and I don't know, I think both of them are a bit scared about that proposition.
Yeah. But it is going to be Marin. Ends up grabbing that. Oh, we've got Earth, Wind, and Fire again. It's the best day ever. Freecs going to be able to lock those ones down in a row. Now Marin heading towards this bottom outer turret, but you can see Cuve's pretty big.
Marin aborted the Guardian Angel Dream, just went for a Stone Plate to at least have a bit of budget tankiness.
Ambition didn't though. He just completed his Guardian Angel, and the Kha'Zix only going to continue getting more and more frustrating to deal with because you have to kill him twice.
Control wards are so important for Afreeca. They need them to be able to really assess whether they can walk up, because even Marin walking up, you can see just a couple of spells, and he falls perilously low. It's hard for Afreeca to have full information at any moment. They're not playing, they're not forcing Samsung to play around their 5. Samsung are playing their game, and Afreeca are grouping because all their power is in grouping. They're not getting the advanced warning of when and where the threat is coming. As Ambition walks up.
Yep. Good play aggressive. Kramer, that he's come back from the death chamber, I feel is older and wiser. Not wanting to stand by himself as much.
Double Redemption now complete. Spirit has his. There's just no beef though. That's the part I have kind of a query with the Blade of the Ruin King, is it hasn't been able to succeed because they played so much around Kramer. There's the first check. It's with the Redemption. This might just be a freebie.
Yep. Kuro wants a threaded volley to grab it.
Well.
That shouldn't have happened. The fact that Ruler grabbed that is, yeah, that's pretty silly.
They had a feast and they didn't use it. They wanted to keep it for the fight and they were almost too greedy, Atlas.
But all's well that ends well, Papa Smithy. Samsung will be able to grab another first Baron of the game. Gold still very, very close, but now 2.6k for Samsung. And Afreeca need to find a fight in their favor. A fight where Kramer does not die instantly. A fight where Cuvee can't just flash onto him. Here's the Weaver's Wall. They're looking for it here. And they want to lock down the tank if they can. They throw him back, but Gargoyle's Stoneplate will make him so tanky. Ultimate invested and actually no joy gained or any ground being picked up as well, as Cuvee continuing to corral the Afreeca Freecs.
The sideways pushing for Samsung. There's ferrying in, taxing it in with crowns. They can't find a fight at all.
Yep. Cuvee got very angry at those minions, and that's going to help kill them. Another minion wave now going to be prepared. Ambition pushing up the mid lane, and the pressure is just everywhere from Samsung. Feels like Afreeca have turned into a games 1 and 2 team as opposed to just a game 1 team.
They'll have side section in game 5 like they did 2 days ago, Atlas, so that will be most likely red side for Samsung, and some of these more creative strategies can become more predictable. We'll have to pick all 5 before Freecs are able to. In top side, they're trying to punish Ruler, play the Rune King pop, but it is a Tristana.
Yeah, Marin slicing and dicing his way around these minion waves means that they can actually get rid of them after Ruler does back away, but Samsung just feel like they're everywhere on the map right now. Ambition, lots of damage on the bottom side. Kuro, aggressive, but won't be able to kill the Bugman. He can leap a long way now, I believe.
I just love that Samsung understands that Afreeca doesn't win really any 1v1. They tried to win a 1v1 with the item build from Marin. That failed. And now because they don't win 1v1s, they're just rotating second because they don't have tempo on the map and losing out on turret health while never getting the 5v5 that the Lulu, Janna, and also AD carries set up for us. Okay,
here it is. Good flash forward as the Monsoon's going to get most of the health back, but that does buy them enough space to grab this inhibitor turret.
Still no
all
fight.
They wanted.
Still no fight for Afreeca. Still can't fight. Samsung take their advantage and walk away, and Afreeca end up still frustrated.
Well, Baron Buff is timing out here, guys. Ambition getting some work done on the bottom side. Little Lance being looked for here from Spirit. We'll do a fair bit of work, but nothing to write home about. Once again, Ambition is going to be safe. And just more of the base broken open. Inhibitor is open in the mid lane. Juve is more than happy to tank up this damage. Just eat Spirit. Delicious. Marin gets his way into the backline, but Redemption's here. He's going to at least keep him relatively safe. Featherstorm comes down, but look at Ruler. He's got a massive amount of items now as Kramer just cannot do anything to him. A second Redemption to come through. But turrets are falling, inhibitors are falling, the whole base is being dismantled. Samsung want the reverse sweep dream, and I think we are going to make back-to-back Game 5s, Papa Smithy. We are getting our money's worth for, I know, my last LCK broadcast for the year, but also possibly the last few, because it could be another 5 game if we go to the final. The more damage comes down, Kramer's dead, and that means that there is nothing left for the Afreeca Freecs. Nexus turrets to fall next, and despite the blue side, despite everything about games 1 and 2, Samsung setting themselves up to equal the Afreeca Freecs, bring us to that potential reverse sweep, and get themselves back to the red side.
And Samsung saw the Lulu jungle coming. They played their cards right. They played around it expertly, and we get confirmation that it's not necessarily the new overpowered strategy. It's a strategy that caught MVP off guard, but could not be repeated a second time. The second time was not the charm. The Kha'Zix draft and Ambition coming back has been where Samsung found their momentum. And just like MVP 2 days ago, Samsung come into the final game with momentum. Let's see what Afreeca want to do. Will we see a massive role reversal? Will we see them bring in Mowgli, for example, into the jungle? Do they have a final Joker strategy? The Draven bot lane, the Relic Shield AD carries, the Lulu jungle. We've seen them ad nauseum now. What do they have next?
Yep, it's just a little bit more difficult to make those compositions work when you are on the blue side. This is the scary thing for Afreeca fans. If you thought this was hard, it feels like it only gets harder, and the more momentum this Samsung squad gets, especially with Ambition there, it gets more and more